Well, collection-wise, 2020 has been an interesting year for me. I mean, of course, one of the main ways I was able to collect a lot of stuff was because I worked at Walmart, and having a discount of 10%, if not more so at times, really helped out. Now, of course, I've collected a lot this year. I mean, there are some MLP figures that I did collect, and probably I'll do a video on that down the line um, for this year, basically looking back at those. But one of the things I wanted to do now is basically look back at the figures that I collected here in the 2020 year, pandemic or no. So, with that said, let's take a look at some of the figures I ended up getting here, shall we? Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you two figures just to start this off so I don't have to take them down just yet that I think I got around this year. Of course, I'm talking about Outback, which is a G1 reissue. And then over here, if I can get to it real carefully, easy for me to say, I got a reissue of Bumblebee as well, which was a G1 reissue that they brought out this year. Just move that right there. There we go. Yeah, but like I said, those were some of the ones that I bought G1 wise that are hanging on my wall right now that I bought earlier this year. Now, with that said though, let's take a look at some of the figures I do have here. And these I know I got throughout 2020. The other ones over here, matter of fact, let me take this once again and show you. These over here, I think I got around last year or so. I just haven't had a chance to really open them up or anything. But yeah, those right there, I got around last year. Now, one of them that I will show you, I should say, you might say I got around last year as well, at least one of them, but I think it was at the end of last year into the beginning of this year that I ended up getting it. And of course, the figure I want to start off with, you know, that falls into that category is the Power of the Primes Alita 1. Now, I ended up getting her, I think, at the tail end of 2019, I think. I can't really remember. I know it was around last year, but it was mainly still on sale going into this year. So we're looking at late last year, early 2020. I got Alita 1 in my collection. And I do plan to get the new Alita 1 as well. That's for War of Cybertron, part of the Netflix series. I do plan to get her eventually. But this was a Leader class one. I think this was a Voyager class. This is a Voyager class figure of Alita 1. So yeah, she was one of the first ones I got to end last year and begin this year, I think. Now, speaking of some figures that I got throughout this year, we'll start with the two that I have kind of displayed out and about right now. This one, of course, is the Power of the Primes Hot Rod / Rodimus. Basically, it's two figures in one. Two Transformers in one, as far as I know. If you want more information on that, check out Optimus's review on that. Rodimus Primal, I think, did a review. And Bolt Matrix, I think, did a review, among others. I'll provide links, you know, in the annotations and the video at the end, the video link to that, to one of them, so you guys could see that. But yeah, I ended up getting him because he was at my job, and I figured might as well get him because, you know, I don't know if it'll be there. There's one thing about the Transformer figures, they do sell out, especially at this time of year. So you have to wait like a while for them to come back in. And fortunately, this guy came in, and I was able to get him when I did. So yeah, the Hot Rod Rodimus figure, Power of the Primes. There we go. Let's straighten them up a little bit. The other one that I got this year is also Power of the Primes. This is, I think, based off, it's not based off Earthrise, I know that. But it's just like with Rodimus. But it is Power of the Primes. It is Optimus And just like with Rodimus, what you get out of this is you get two figures in one, because on the back, you can see he's got like two legs on the back here. And that kind of converts him into Orion Pax, his form before he became Optimus. And that's pretty cool. So you get two figures, like I said, in one with this one. And like I said, it's basically, it's basically, I don't know if they call this, Power of the Primes Earthrise or something like that. I don't really know. I have to look again. Maybe some of you in the in the comment section can correct me or help me out there. The one thing about the Optimus figure, though, about this one is, the original figure, as we all know, and even some interpretations afterwards, would have the trailer separate. Basically, the trailer would come off and you'd be able to use that as a platform or something like that. Here, the trailer basically is a part of his transformation, so it's a little bit more tricky when you transform him from robot to vehicle mode. But yeah, it's a great representation of G1 Optimus with a little modifications thrown in there. But yeah, I ended up getting him as well at my job, and I was happy to get him. Adds to the Optimus collection I have now, which includes Power of the Primes Optimus, and the 20th anniversary Optimus, and the G1 reissue of Optimus, and then of course the Hasbro Transformers 2007 movie version of Optimus, even the proto form. So yeah, I ended up getting him when I did, so really happy to get it. All right, sorry about that. I was just making sure it's stayed in there. I have to stand it up on top of the trailer of the original G1. All right, so speaking of other figures I got, I also ended up getting this one. This is a reissue of Ectotron. As you probably noticed with some of these, and will notice, I haven't opened them up yet. Eventually I probably will, but that's going to be in time. But this is the original version of not original, but this is the reissue of the original Ectotron figure. This came out around the second wave or something like that for the Transformers, doing like season 2 of G1. So this is the reissue of it. And when they had this at my job, I was like, I had to just pick it up and everything, because again, one thing, growing up as a child, not a lot of us had not a lot of our families, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, not a lot of our families had the money to buy the figures, buy Transformers for us. But when they did, they went all out for us. So, and I should know, because my history is I had Power Master Optimus Prime for my 10th birthday. So what else can I say? But yeah, I got this one on a reissue of Ectotron. I'm just really happy to have that in the collection finally. And it is a triple changer. Of course, it was like Ectotron and I think a Springer were like some of the only triple changers that we, and Blitzring, of course, were the only like triple changers that were out at that time. So I was happy to get this when it got reissued. Speaking of reissues, we have one that I've always wanted as a kid. My cousin had it when we were kids, and I always wanted to get it. And I haven't yet opened it. I'll probably open that down the line. We're talking about Soundwave. And the one thing about this figure, I'll put it to you honestly. Actually, I'll put it to you honestly. When this came out, this was selling out like hotcakes for some reason at my job, because I don't think anybody had Soundwave at that time. But thankfully, when it finally came back out, restocked, I was able to get him. And he comes with Buzzsaw. I was planning to get the other cassettes, but just never had a chance to do so. Probably have to get those down the line. But yeah, I ended up getting this as well this year. just really happy to get it back, get it into the collection finally, and cannot wait to probably display it or at least transform it and then transform it back, put it back in the box if I have to. I know there's a lot of people that do that. In fact, Michael Mercy actually does that as well. He even does that with not just Transformers, but Michael Mercy also does that with other figures as well. He'll, like his like the vehicle figures, like the Hollywood ride figures that are out there. He'll open them up. He'll review them, and then he'll put them back in the box if he wants to. So that's probably what I'll end up doing down the line, because boxes like this, believe it or not, become collector items. But yeah, I got this when I had the opportunity, when it got restocked at my job. Alright, speaking of a figure that I got when it got restocked at my job, we have the reissue of Starscream, of course. This is a reissue of the figure. And when we talk about reissues, for anybody that doesn't, kind of get or grasp that, and I'm sure you do, but for some people that don't, basically the reissuing is the fact that these are based on the original figures. Basically, Hasbro has the blueprints and everything of the original figures, so they go out of their way to basically reproduce them, if you will, and bring them back out for people to have once again. And that's basically what I have here. I have this refigure, and there are bootlegs that are out there that people sell that they try to capitalize, but this is legit. It even has the authentic Transformers logo on there, which is cool. But yeah, this again, I've been wanting to get this in the I've been wanting this since I was a kid, and I was happy to finally get it when it got reissued and restocked at my job. So just like with Soundwave, got two figures I never had as a kid. Now, now as an adult collector, if you will. And if I ever do a review on it, you will know. Alright, so moving these down to here, we'll look at this one. This is another reissue I got. This, of course, is of Hot Rod. This is Hot Rod, basically. This is a reissue of Hot Rod. And this was released originally back in around 1986 in time for the movie. So yeah, I ended up getting this when it got reissued and released. And this is based off the original Hot Rod toy. Now, one thing about reissues, I will put it like this, they do kind of improve a little bit. Like, there are certain things of the original that might seem, different from a reissue or vice versa. And you kind of see that, I think, a little bit with some of these. But I was just glad to finally get this one. And you can tell it's based off the third season in the movie, because they have Metroplex and Trypticon in the back. Usually the back display always depending on when the toy was released in which wave, or certain waves and seasons, that the back of the toy would represent whatever that time frame was. So yeah, I ended up getting Hot Rod finally. And I do have other versions of Hot Rod. In fact, there's one that came out years prior that was basically almost like this. So yeah, it's very close to identicalness in this. But this is basically based off the original version. So I was happy to finally get it, in the collection. Just finally happy to get it. Alright, so we'll get into some of these next. But this one's probably one of the best ones I got so far, because I plan to get the other two. I have the other two, or at least two of them, on order or getting ready to be ordered by me in the next week or so. Christmas presents first. But yeah, basically this is Ectotron, based on Ecto-1 of Ghostbusters. This is the first of the crossovers that Hasbro did with the licenses that they own, the licenses they have to distribute toys of. And basically they're crossing over with Ghostbusters. And this came out in time for both 35th anniversaries, like the 35th anniversary of Transformers, 35th anniversary of Ghostbusters. So it's really glad to get that. I'll get this finally. You know, because I heard nothing but good things about it, and I just wanted to finally get it. And it's basically the way they have the transformation on the top and everything, and the way they have it displayed. It's got a very G1 feel to it, and I'm just happy to have it. It's got a little Slimer in there as well, as you can tell. The other two that they've brought out are Maverick with Top Gun and Gigawatt for Back to the Future. So I want to get those. I plan to get those eventually. But I was happy to get this. And if I do a review on it, you will know. I know that Michael Mercy did a review on it. And I think he put it back in the case as well. Because this is just one of those figures that either you could display out if you want, or you put it back in the case, you know, after you're done. So yeah, I got this year as well. So I was happy to get that. And speaking of which, I also ended up getting this baby here. This is known as Alternate Universe Optimus Prime. And what it is basically is, I'm going to open it up here real carefully. Got a little roller in there, or something like that connects with it. What it is basically is Optimus, Alternate Universe Optimus. And what it is it's based on the death scene from Transformers the movie. Yeah, this is actually based on the death scene of Optimus's death scene in Transformers the movie. That's why it's called Alternate Version Optimus. And I think we're going to be getting Alternate Version Optimus in the second season, but he's going to be known as Nemesis Prime. So we're going to be getting that in the second season, so I can't wait to see that in the next few weeks when it debuts. You know, like I said, I cannot wait to see that as I try to put this back in there. Yeah, I cannot wait to see that when it comes out eventually. Yeah, but yeah, I ended up getting this finally as well, when I had a chance. And again, it's basically it's called I think I just had the name here. Yeah, there it is. It's called Alternate Universe Optimus Prime. So it's called Alternate Universe Optimus Prime. And again, like I said, it's basically based on his, and you could tell just by the front here as well. It's based on when he died and everything and all that. So, but again, I think it's also based on what we're going to get in the second season for Roy Cybertron. All right, hold on for a sec. I do something. Just take care of something here for a second. Hold on. There we go. Okay. All right. Just checking something. Okay, so to wrap it up a little bit, we're going to get into some figures that are based around the Netflix series. The first one is from War of Cybertron Siege. I think that's trilogy, but it's Siege. We have Hound. We have Hound here. And he was in the first season, and he's going to be in the second season, or the second chapter, which is Earthrise. So we have Hound from the Siege portion. I ended up getting him. And then I ended up getting, from Siege as well, Chromia. So I ended up getting Chromia. So this makes like my... I have another Chromia as well. down here, I think it's Powers of the Prime or something like that. So it gives me 2 Chromia figures. So yeah, I have Chromia for more Cybertron Siege, which is pretty cool. And then, to round it out, got a couple of figures here. This one is Hoist. This is from Transformers Trilogy Earthrise. And you could tell that they're based on different sections of it. Because even though this one says War for Cybertron and Transformers on it, this is Siege. And then they differ it by saying Earthrise on them. So the ones that just say Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy with the white covers, if you will, are based on Siege, and the ones that are in the green are based on Earthrise. So here we have Hoist, which is out of the Earthrise figures, and you can tell it's a replica, basically, of its near replica of his G1 figure. So that's pretty cool. So we have Hoist, which is pretty cool. And then last but not least, we have Grapple. And I originally had Grapple as a kid, along with Snarl of the Dinobots. So it's kind of nice to have him back in the collection. And again, a near replication of his G1 figure. So that's really nice. So we have Grapple on there here as well. So yeah, that's pretty. So yeah, that's my. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for the figures. So yeah, that's pretty much the figures of Transformers that I've collected here for 2020. I know it's not really much, but you know, what are you gonna do? Well, it might be much to a lot of people, but it's not as much as like what mainly a lot of collectors can do every year, depending on the financial situations. But for me, it's worth it. And you know, since I'm not working anymore, at least I can look back and kind of be happy with the fact that I worked hard enough to be able to splurge a little bit on some of my favorite things that I used to like as a kid and still like to this day. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Video responses are great if you want to do those. And again, check out the links to some of the people I recommend when it comes to some of these figures that I talked about. Optimus, Bolt Matrix, Michael Mercy, Rodimus Primal. Check them out here on YouTube. I'll provide a link to at least 2 or 3 of them so you guys can check them out. And until next time, guys, God bless, take care, and have a safe New Year's Eve.